I don't know what's going on with the sound. I don't know what's going on with the audio. The music won't come directly through now. That's a new thing. We had a massive issue on Friday where I thought the show was on and there wasn't a show. It didn't air at all. The show was great. It was almost 3 hours long. And I didn't find out until afterward, in part because I wasn't paying attention, and in part because I think I screwed up. At the beginning of the show, I wrote down on the screen, hey, having some technical problems. But that lasted till like 10:20, and then the show started, and then the show went till, I think, after 1. And then I found out while I was driving to get a haircut. I don't know if you noticed, I got a haircut. It's fairly dramatic. My sister called it a glow up. I shouldn't say I'm not familiar with the term. I've never been involved in a conversation where the term was used. I think I've heard it, but I said, "Hey, look at this." I sent her a picture of a before and after. I went to Buffalo Trim to get fixed because I was broken. I had big puffy hair. I think it was out to here-ish. And then the beard that was out to here-ish, and it was all gray and messy and nappy and yuck. And then they cleaned me up. And I look like this, which is it's going pretty well for me, I would say. I've enjoyed the last 72 hours since I went to Buffalo Trim. A lot of, whoa, what's going on with you? What happened there? I think the first one was, are you coming from a job interview? I had on, I wasn't even dressed up. Like this is a sweatshirt. Okay. I had like I think they would call it a Henley shirt, like a long sleeve shirt with the 3 buttons at the top, under a jacket, going to a baseball game. Didn't wear a hat because I liked how the fresh cut looks from Buffalo Trim. Because I'm getting ready for a brain vault, which is tomorrow. I'm going to be on stage. I have to be more presentable. I think it worked. I think I'm entirely more presentable. So thanks, Buffalo Trim. I would recommend everyone go there. Specifically, I went to the North French location in Amherst, or East Amherst, I guess it would be. And Isabel took care of me, my head and my face. And if she can do this for me, if I can look like this compared to what I looked like on Friday, you're gonna want to maybe see what she can do for you, or what someone at Buffalo. I don't want to just say it's her. They have 6 locations. If you're in the South Towns, I'm not saying drive to North French Road and seek out one particular person who works there. I'm just saying the person that worked there for me worked for me. So, I would guess the next one you try would work too. But Buffalo Trim, thanks. Thanks a lot. I said that I had technical problems on Friday early in the show, and then I never jumped in and said anything. And I wondered why, like, the chat was active, but it wasn't really participating in the show. It wasn't reacting to what was happening on the show. It was just kind of existing on its own. And I found out while I was driving to Buffalo Trim, afternoon, that the show, I never hit go live. So I did not go live. So the 250th episode, which was excellent by all accounts, everyone I've heard from since I put it online has loved the show. So it was a little bit of me by myself. Then it was Tim Graham for half an hour probably. And Tim Graham announcing that he would be a part of Brain Vault tomorrow. So Brain Vault, tickets on sale right now, thecasbuffalo.com. The Brain Vault will feature, me, so it's mine. And then Tim Graham and Jeremy White and Greg Bauk will all be there, including a short set of comedy from Greg Bauk. That'll be a part of it too, because he's a stand-up, and he's my friend, and he's participating part of the panel for the first ever edition of Brain Vault, which is tomorrow at the Cas. thecasbuffalo.com for tickets, please. Do that. We haven't sold a ticket in like 4 or 5 days, and I want to have a bunch of people there. And right now we're not going to have a ton of people there, but we're going to have people. And that's all that really matters. Like, in my mind, the first of these events should have been either free or like $1. This is in my head, and that just wasn't the plan of the place, and that's fine. But I wanted full house. Let's do this as like a, not dress rehearsal, not trial run, like the first one. Let's just make sure people are there, and then we'll get it all on camera, and then we'll show that off, and then people are like, oh, this is the thing we go to, and then people will start going to it. That was my plan. That's not what we decided as a group, and I just said, whatever, it's your place. You know better than I do. So, we're at, the place holds 170. We've got 19 tickets sold at last check, which I loved a week ago when it was at 17 or whatever. But it didn't go up over the weekend, but we haven't really pushed it. It hasn't happened yet. We don't have video to show you how cool it is. So if we have a small crowd, we're going to do that. I started talking about this on one of the shows. One of the things people love about the Tragically Hip is you would see them at a bar, and you'd be one of 14 people seeing them at the bar, and they would perform like it was an arena. And I think I and our panel will do the same. If we have a small crowd, we have a small crowd. We're still going to do the same show. It's still going to look great. Most of the cameras will look the same. The one that points back out at the crowd will look less impressive, but that's okay. We just won't use those in the promotional video. So that's what we're trying to do, is the first event and create promotional video to make the later events bigger. And this is the startup one. So please, if you have not, and you have the inclination whatsoever to A, just have a night of fun, and B, support the show. We're 251 episodes in. I haven't asked you for anything really. So if you could do that, that would be awesome, please. All right. Oh yeah, the technical problem. So I never turned the thing on. So then I realized that I came home, and luckily the whole thing was recorded, because when I go through the same streaming software that I use, even if I don't hit go live, it's rolling on whatever's going. So I was able to come home from getting a haircut and whatever they did to my face, and then pop the show onto YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff and set it up. I had it actually go live, like a instant premiere, and that might be part of what screwed up my software here. I did it a different way. So I had an instant premiere on Saturday at 10 a.m. So if you subscribe, you get notified when I go live. You got a thing like, what's going on? It's Saturday. That was the Friday show that I actually had stream live on YouTube on Saturday, because I didn't hit the go live button at all. I was so excited about the show. It was great. I looked bad compared to now, where I look, like this. This is the best anyone could possibly do with this, this face, this head. They did a great job. I think they did a great job. I've gotten used to it now. I feel like I look like this now. I feel like a fraud. I got home Friday, and my wife just looks and is like, oh God, look at you, young person. I said to them when I went in, I said to Isabel, I'm like, look, I'm 51 years old. Can you make me look 45? Like it doesn't seem like a massive leap. I remember 45. That feels like yesterday. I lived in this house at 45. We moved in 2019. I'm good. Like I turned 40. I turned 45 here. It's not that long ago. I lived in a different house for 10 years. This one's only like 6. But the whole time I've been 45 or higher, basically, since I turned it in 19. And that's what I said, can we do that? She's like, I think we can do that. And I think they did that. I think I got set back, 5-6 years. Pretty good. Look at that. No scruff here. I've got like the clean line. All this stuff. Very helpful. Very helpful, Buffalo Trim. All right. Championship games. You know what? The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. I felt great about Denver's chances until the weather turned it into a non-football game. I thought they were fine. They were sitting pretty. That's what they do. They tend to win in the second half. But once no one could see, you couldn't see, run, stand, throw, catch, punt, or kick. So, weather games, they look good on TV. Like the photo of it looks good on TV. The game was awful. And the Patriots now get to pretend that they're the best team in the AFC. I've got to text message I haven't read yet from our senior Boston correspondent, Michael Bryan, who he's going to treat this, they're going to treat this like they deserve to be there and they're completely back and they're going to go to 20 more years of Super Bowls because their quarterback is only in his second year. And that's what we're going to get out of these people, which is why we absolutely, positively need the Seahawks to win. And yes, that would be Darnold winning a Super Bowl before Josh Allen. But think of it this way. At least you're not a Jets fan. Because I cannot imagine what that's like. And there was a text from one of my Jet fan friends last night saying, man, if Darnold was taken with the third pick, imagine what the Jets can do with the second pick. This is going to be great. Just kidding. He's kidding. There's like no hope for that team at all. And then to have this rubbed in their face. I was trying to explain to my wife, she's a Bills fan and, she knows everything about one team in the league. And then, not a ton about other teams in the league, which is totally fine. Almost cute. I'm like, how do you feel about Darnold possibly winning a Super Bowl before Allen? And she's like, why? What's his story? I'm like, well, he was taken in that same draft. There were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round of that draft. And one of them is Baker Mayfield. And that's Cleveland, a notoriously horrible franchise that had a guy who could play, was cool. He was in a bunch of national commercials and stuff. And they moved on from him to bring in Deshaun Watson while setting Baker free. And he's been very good since. Everywhere he's been very good. And he's locked in. He's the guy in Tampa now. And Darnold was horrible with the Jets. He was second overall. The other awful franchise at the top of the draft all the time. Darnold was awful. And then he went to Carolina. He was a little bit better. Then he went to Minnesota, won 14 regular season games. Then he went to Seattle, won 14 regular season games, and is going to the Super Bowl. His first year there with a second-year head coach. So I explained that to her, and we decided that's completely fine. With the alternative being the Patriots winning with a first-year head coach in Vrabel and a second-year quarterback in Drake May, who was also a top 3 pick, who was also in the division, who also reigned supreme over the AFC East for 20 years, not very long ago. I badly want this still to be the Bills' division. I look forward to the Patriots playing a top schedule. It's cliche at this point to talk about how they didn't really beat anybody all year long. They beat the Bills. That was their best win. They beat them once. Aside from that, nothing has happened, and everybody else falls down, and they're still standing. And now here comes the Super Bowl, and the Patriots are in it, and they need to lose by about 100 points to make me feel okay. And I think collectively, Western New York, we kind of feel that way, right? We are a very, very pro Seahawks town in this moment. Because we can't have the Patriots thing come back. We can't have that attitude and swagger come back. Although, winning the Super Bowl, then missing the playoffs would feel pretty good too. But I don't know that I'm ready to say that about this team. I think it's a good team. I think they're here to mess with you. It feels like the very early. I get where they're coming from. It feels like the early part of their dynastic run that started with the 0-1 team. And Brady, and a bunch of weird stuff, and Tuck Rule, and another snow game. That too. Brady got to his first Super Bowl following a snow game. It wasn't the AFC Championship game where they beat the Raiders, but it was a snowy mess, that Tuck Rule game. And, clearing off the snow for Vinatieri to hit the game-winning field goal. It did feel like that. So I get how they would think, oh, here we go again. It's just another 20 years of this. We've got the best guy. And I think they've got a good guy. I'm more impressed by Drake May in his first year as a starter. Sorry, it's his second year. I'm more impressed by Drake May at this point in his career than I was by Tom Brady when he won his first Super Bowl. That felt like a fluky, weird... The way that Stidham winning a Super Bowl would have felt The Brady thing kind of felt like that. It's like, well, you're in because of an injury, and as soon as your real guy comes back, he's going to go in. Like, it would have that same vibe. It's gross. I don't like it. So there's that. I'm not going to dwell. Scott Wilson's going to be on. I'm sure we'll talk about football. But I'm not going to dwell on that. All right, I wrote down. I look like this now. That's at the top of the page. I look like this now, and I wrote sister glow up. My sister told me I got a glow up. She wrote that with an exclamation point. Thought it was cool. What do you guys think? Is this fine? Is it? I mean, it's still me, right? Just cleaned up a little bit. I'm gonna read the comments and then continue with all this other crap that's on my page. All right. Sounds like more technical difficulties. Yes. Episode 250 was great, by the way, says Nick. Thank you. I loved it. Nick Mackay was incredible. Tim Graham, Scott Wilson, obviously, both great. Nick Mackay, we were like arguing about Oscar stuff, and it was not arguing, discussing. But he hated one battle after another, and we got into that a little bit. I hadn't seen Skyscraper live yet when I talked to Nick, but I would have loved to, because we did talk about Netflix. His new show is called Leanne, featuring comic Leanne Morgan, and they're shooting the second season right now, I believe. I don't want to misquote, but I think that's right. And we talked about some of Netflix and how Netflix is changing the entire entertainment industry and blah, blah, blah. It all went from there, and then we got into Oscar movies. He was talking about how he didn't like anything that was nominated except for one movie, and I was hoping that it was the one that I love, but it was not. So then we got to debate that a little bit. He said he did like Sinners, though. That's one of the other ones that's up for it. All right. So I asked, the music, I'm playing the music. Typically, the music comes from over here. It routes through this thing and goes out to you. And for whatever reason, it's not routing through this. It's just playing through these speakers here. So I put the mic in front of the speakers so you could hear the music, kind of. And not even kind of. It just sounded like you're listening to music over the phone or something like that. But it's not going right through, but I didn't know that until 10 o'clock. So, that's something that needs to be addressed. I don't know how soon I'll address it, because I'm trying to get ready for a live show tomorrow. And everything that I do for this show is sort of an interruption for that. Once we get in the flow, it won't be so distracting, but I haven't done it before. It's the first one, and it's a massive undertaking for one person. I'm bringing along my friends for help on the stage, but getting ready for that moment it's a lot. It's fine. It's fun. It's great. I love it. I'm excited, but it does not give me 2 hours to figure out why the music isn't playing through here. Like, who cares? This part of the show is working. The part where I talk is working. That's really what I need. I mean, do we even need video? No, but yes. I mean, now that I look like this, we'd be a waste. Be a waste to just talk on the radio looking like this. All right? Huh? I know, it's not that good. They did a great job, but it still was just me. All right, back to the things. More problems. Are you getting music? Da-da-da. Coming up with the song. Good morning. Big reveal when the cam turns on is what I said. That was true. See? Look at this. Huh? Tightened up. I'm looking like a regular TV guy. A little bit. That's right. New Brad. Good morning. Looking forward to that. Good morning. Da-da. Wow, who is that guy? First comment from Niagara Grit, formerly known as Arbo. What's up, writer Die Hard? See, I like that. Ray. Although the group seems to have settled on Brad Pack. Writer Die Hard. Like ride or die. And then Die Hard. It all fits together. It's Ray's thinking. Nick asks, new host? No. It's just me with the help of Buffalo Trim. Oh, that's just handsome Brad. Thanks, man. Looks like somebody made Brad look like Brad looked 15 years ago. The Capital District Brad Pack approves. Looking good, young man. Possibly the worst team to ever make the Super Bowl. I'm just going to pretend this whole season didn't happen. Cardi B is no Taylor Swift, just a loudmouth. You can now definitely pass for 45 years old. Let's go. That's what we're looking for. Scott Wilson coming up at 11 o'clock. All right, here we go. What else is on the sheet here? Do I want to do that yet? No. That's all Scott Wilson stuff. A lot of stuff on Skyscraper. Oh, I found myself last night wondering, and this will only work for those of you who have watched or heard episode 250, but Nick Bakay, who's a local guy who's been in Hollywood forever. Why would I not make him my senior Hollywood correspondent? I tried to have him on. I asked him if he had 15 minutes. He said, yeah, sure. And then we went for 55 minutes. It was 55 minutes of conversation with Nick Bakay, first about Buffalo and sports, and then it just turned into his stuff, and that was more interesting to me because I always end up talking about Buffalo sports. Whoops. But talking to him about Hollywood things was so fun. Why did I not offer that? And I don't want to be a pest. I've texted with him a few times since having him on. I talked to him on Thursday night. Yeah. I recorded the thing with him on Thursday night because going live with him from California while he's got shooting going on, it just didn't make sense. Time zones and work and stuff. So I recorded with him Thursday night. And since then, we've texted back and forth a little bit. And he is very much, and I believe him, like, yeah, call me anytime. Have me on anytime. I don't think I could have Nick Bakay on weekly, but like monthly-ish. Why would he not be my senior Hollywood correspondent? So I think I'm going to have to add that title to Nick. I already made a cool graphic for him, so there's a cartoon face of him for when I speak with him. Why not just add a title to him and have him on more often to talk about stuff like that? I love that stuff. I love behind-the-scenes Hollywood chit-chat. He knows all the famous people. He's famous in his own right, but even when I'm asking people around here, like, do you know who Nick Bakay is? Like, well, I looked him up, and yeah, I'm familiar with him, sort of. But he's done everything. He's been on everything. He's written for everything. He's acted in everything. He's like bit part actor. He was on ESPN for years, which is where I first became aware of him when he was doing Tale of the Tape on ESPN. But he's I think he said 66 years old, and he spent the last 30 plus years in Hollywood. He was the voice of Salem the talking cat on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It goes back that far. He knows Sabrina the Teenage Witch. He was a big part of the show. I have seen so little of the stuff. Like you look at his IMDb page, and it's just jammed with everything I haven't seen. A lot of voice work, cartoon stuff, Angry Beavers. He was Norbert, I believe, on the Angry Beavers, which if I had kids when the Angry Beavers were first airing, I would have watched that. But I didn't. I was in my 20s. I'm not watching your cartoon show, even if I know you. I was too cool to watch a cartoon show. But I believe in anything he's attached to. Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's a question I should have asked him. He wrote it. He wrote Paul Blart Mall Cop and the second one. That was called Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. I've never seen either of them. I think the most brilliant thing about the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop is the name Paul Blart. And I'm positive that Nick came up with Blart. I'm almost positive that the name Blart leads to the whole thing. Like, you just think of it. Jeremy and I always had a thing about movies where you could tell they came up with the title and then they made it. It's always like, time code. Some like sort of the net. The net is the perfect one. Like, you came up with the title and you're like, we got it. We have to make it now. There's a thing called the internet. If we call it just the net, then it's like a thing that Sandra Bullock can be trapped in. Let's go. And they start with that. I think the word Blart comes to your head. Then maybe you think Paul. Then maybe you attach Kevin James in your mind to it. And then you're like, what does Paul Blart do? We need 2 more words. What is hilarious? Because whether you've seen the movie, care about the movie, it doesn't matter. A movie called Paul Blart Mall Cop is going to get attention. It's going to be memorable. And I'm pretty sure he just started with Blart. If I had one do-over on talking to Nick Bakay last Thursday night for Friday's show that didn't actually air until Saturday, it would be, did that whole thing, was it all born because you thought of the word Blart as a surname? And I would venture the answer is yes. That's maybe worth a text message. I don't need to have another 55-minute conversation with him. But just, hey, that all start because you thought of Blart. That's funny. It was good call. That's funny. All right. Honestly, I wrote down all I did. Oh, all right. Here's the thing. We'll see. All I wrote down was stuff I watched, which is a pair of football games, a man climbing a skyscraper live on Netflix. And as Scott Wilson very appropriately pointed out, he's climbing a building, and either he'll make it or he's going to fall to his death live on Netflix. That's what we signed up for. And I thought I might tune in rooting against him. I did not root against him at all. I was rooting for him. And spoiler alert, he survived. You know how I knew he survived? We had a baseball game Friday night, and the event was happening while we were at the baseball game. That's not the whole story. That would be weird. When I got home, I'm like, I got to see the end of this. And I turned it on, and it was already over, but it was available for streaming. Like the live part had already happened and shut down, but you could press play and watch it from the beginning. And in that moment, I kind of felt like the drama had been spoiled, because I'm pretty sure if he fell to his death on international, we'll call it television, they probably would not have made the replay just available. Yeah, start it now. Look, skyscraper. It's happening. Just check it out. And then he dies again. They probably wouldn't have done that. So there was a little less tension. I guess it was possible that he wouldn't make it, and he just he gave up. He was too tired or weak, or the wind screwed it up, or earthquakes. They were worried about earthquakes. That maybe he would have climbed in through a window and taken an elevator down and wrapped it up, and they still would have shown that if it failed. But if he fell to his death, they would not have shown the replay just available, just right next to Paul Blart Mall Cop, which I don't think is on Netflix. But if it was, you get what I'm saying. I don't think it would have been there. So I watched it start to, I thought finish. But then I realized in the morning, no, I shut that off. He wasn't all the way there yet. He was almost there, but he wasn't all the way there. I don't know how it ends. So I watched last night the last 16 minutes of Skyscraper Live, which was no longer live, but that's what they called it. And the guy whose name I still don't remember, got his face burned into my head, but I don't remember his name. The guy from Free Solo tried to climb El Capitan with nothing, just him. No gloves. Wide receivers wear gloves. My kids wear gloves for playing catch in the yard with football. This guy doesn't wear gloves to climb a 1,700-foot skyscraper. It's crazy. The whole thing was crazy. But I realized I hadn't watched it, so the last 16 minutes of the broadcast were still available to me. So I hit resume, and I watched that last night. And I'll be honest, man, he makes it. He gets to the top, and then he stands on the top of the building. And then there are all these drone or helicopter or probably not helicopter because that would create wind. Drone shots of him 1,700 feet in the air standing atop this building. And I couldn't even look at it. I was so much less comfortable watching him stand on top of the building than I was watching him climb the building. Climbing the building was, a little harrowing. And maybe it's that the camera shot could do like 360, so it was just him and then the whole city and mountains and hills and water and stuff in the back. Like it was all, but the shot of him standing on the top, I paused it and went upstairs to tell my wife how uncomfortable I was watching it. Like, he made it, but this is, I can't look. And she had seen it like that night. I watched it in the basement because I was working on stuff for the show. So I just had it on, but I wasn't staring at it the whole time. But her and the kids watched it when we got back from baseball the other day. They watched it start to finish. And so she was aware of that, and she agreed that part was very difficult to watch. And I don't know why. I'm not there. I'm on the other side of the world. It happened on tape. He's clearly safe. But standing on top with sort of the camera spinning around and pulling back, and it's just a little dude on top of this 1,700-foot structure, it was so uncomfortable. I don't know if vertigo is the right I was getting like jitters, and I felt something. So that's good TV. That's good TV. I don't know that you can do, like, what's the next one? Because I would watch something like that a lot. But you can't just have another guy climbing another building. Like, that can't be next. I don't know what episode 2 would be of Skyscraper Live, but I'm in for that sort of adventure. I thought it was way better than watching Nick Walendo walk across the falls, whenever that was, 15 years ago or something. I felt it was way scarier for me as a viewer. I guess there's over water, there's a part where you're like, oh, maybe he'll be all right. Like, A, he's not going to fall. He's super good at it. B, at least it's water. Like, you wouldn't want someone to fall. You wouldn't want yourself to fall off of a wire that's strung across the falls. But I wouldn't assume certain death. Like, oh no, he might die. But then they'd probably save him. Maybe they'd save him. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know how the rapids work. I don't know what you hit on the way down. But at least with water under you, there's some sort of like, I mean, it's impressive and it's cool. But it feels like there's at least a cushion of something that could potentially, maybe, kind of, sort of keep you alive. Could also kill you in and of itself. Because if you're unconscious and you're in water, that's not good. Or if you hit a rock, or I don't know. But there's some sort of safety net. There's no moat around Taipei 101 or whatever. I think that was what it was called, Taipei 101. I wrote it somewhere so that I wouldn't screw it up. Nah. The guy listened to music on the way, and you couldn't hear the music, but it was suggested that he listened to Tool, which I think is awesome. I also think there's no other Tool song to listen to while climbing a 1,700-foot building in Taiwan. I think there's no song you would listen to other than Invincible, which you'd have to listen to a lot on repeat, but not that many times because it's like 12 minutes long. But I think Invincible is the one. Warrior, boom, boom, boom. Struggling, boom, boom, boom. To remain, boom, boom, boom. Relevant, boom, boom, boom. Warrior, doom, 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 doom. I think that's the song. All right, I like it. Taipei 101. There it is. Yeah, that's what it was called. 1,700 feet. I wrote this down to talk about it with Scott Wilson. I'm going to read all the words out loud that I have here, and then we'll get into it in further detail, I'm sure, with Scott. We've got to talk about football, too. I wrote Skyscraper Live, Taipei 101, 1,700 feet, no gloves. Wide receivers wear gloves. Tool. Cameras in windows. People waving. He's going up the building, and people are waving to him from the windows. And he's like waving back. At some point, somebody tried to give somebody a high five or something. Like he was just chill. He was just cool. So, like he's walking down the street, except he was walking up a skyscraper. Mark Rober was on it. Mark Rober is a guy I'm familiar with because of my kids and YouTube. If your kids have ever watched a thing about like a squirrel maze set up in a backyard, that was the first thing I think my kids found from Mark Rober. But he's like a scientist. He's like Mythbusters, but young and cool, sort of. Just testing out scientific things and learning through engineering and creating robots to do these. It's awesome stuff. And they had him as their senior, I don't know what you would call it, senior climbing correspondent. They had him in various posts talking about the science of it. He's an engineer. He worked for NASA, I guess. But he was very good. He's awesome. Anything he does, he shows up on like Dude Perfect. I know this is all just stuff my kids watch, but Dude Perfect is another online thing, which is 5 guys based in Texas that do all kinds of crazy stunts and athletic things. It's good. It's good. As far as garbage YouTube content that my kids watch instead of real TV, you can do a lot worse than Dude Perfect, I don't think you can do much better than stuff with Mark Rober, but he's like worked with them too. He was cool. I liked him. Seth Rollins is a pro wrestler. I've heard the name. I had never seen him before. He was one of the commentators. I told Scott I would not want to be a commentator for a person climbing a skyscraper. You just run out of things to say. It's like talking about the parade on Thanksgiving. Oh, here comes Santa. Oh, he's got a lot of toys. Look at him. Look how white that beard is. Not like Brad's. Brad's is fine. With a good trim and a little touch up of color. Still some gray in there, but not like overwhelming me. I don't look like Santa Claus at all anymore. No one would mistake me for Mr. Claus. Not today. Not right now. What else did I write? Camera guy hanging. I'm uncomfortable on the tall swings at Darien Lake. 16-foot dragon times 10. We'll talk about that. Fanny pack of chalk. Thought a lot about his wife. Sani is her name. Sanni. Sani. I don't know what that's short for. But I thought about if he fell off the building. And she seemed very obviously supportive of her husband's weird habit of climbing skyscrapers and such. But she was there and she was, enthusiastic, but not over the top. She seemed very cool. And she was an attractive woman. And I just thought about, there's a lot of people watching this right now thinking the same thing. Like, Sonny, if this dude falls off the building, maybe I got a shot. How are you the next guy? Like, what do you do? My last husband died climbing a skyscraper live on Netflix. So he was pretty brave. What's up with you? Like, well, never mind. Like, there's just, how do you follow it up? They're saying, like, they called him briefly the Michael Jordan of climbing. If you're the Michael Jordan of basketball, you're not impressive to the widow of the Michael Jordan of climbing. And the Michael Jordan of basketball is super impressive to everybody else. Not to her. How do you compete with that dude? Ever. In anything. You cannot. Oh, I'm the president of the United States. Yeah, I don't know. That's not anything. Oh, I'm the CEO of Bank of America. Would you just climb a skyscraper? Do you have a documentary based on you climbing El Capitan? Just on sheer will with chalk on your hands? I'm unimpressed. Move on, sir. What if he ran out of chalk? I wrote that down. I wrote, I'm out of chalk. Then what? And that's all I had there. One quick personal note, after a horrible sports weekend last week where we went 0-4 in one day, last Saturday, it was my son lost a basketball game in the morning. Then the Bills lost to the Broncos. And then the Patriots won. And then I went to my son's baseball game that they lost. They got shut out. So that was a fantastic plan for a day. Let's go watch Zach win a basketball game. Let's watch the Bills win a playoff game to go to the AFC Championship. Let's watch the Patriots lose to the Chargers. Thus bringing the AFC Championship game here, right? That was the one we needed. Yeah, that would have been here. Then that would have been terrible weather. Then the Bills would have lost to the Chargers because of fluky weather. So, maybe we just saved ourselves a little stress. And then they'd be firing their coach today instead of last week. We'd have that. But none of that happened. And then my kid lost his baseball game too. Hurried up after the Bills game to go out there, and then the Shamrocks lost too. That was 0-4. My teams went 4-0 this weekend. My kids' teams went 4-0 this weekend. We had a basketball win on Saturday. That was, I don't remember if that was morning or afternoon. It all runs together. Afternoon. It was like a 4 o'clock game, I think. So Zach's team won his Amherst basketball game. Then we had morning basketball. Drew's team won by 10, I think, like 34-24. He had a good game. And then we came home for a while, and then we went back. Oh, Nate's team didn't play. Nate's team had a bye because I was supposed to have to work UB wrestling, so I requested a bye because I coached that team. And then the wrestling match against Hofstra got canceled. So we could have played basketball, but we didn't. That's okay. Then Zach's team played. They won by 3. No, they won by 3 the other day. They won by 8 or 9 or 10 or something. So they won. And then we had a baseball game that I forgot to talk about. That was on Saturday where they won big. Drew's team won big. So 4-0. 3 basketball wins and a baseball win over the weekend, all while I walked around looking like this thanks to Buffalo Trim because I got a haircut and I got styled to get set for Brain Vault. Tickets on sale right now, thecasbuffalo.com. All right, it's episode 251 of Writer Radio. It's brought to you by Brian Janik at thefinancialguys.com. Brian is your insurance guy, an independent insurance broker for 20-plus years. And especially if you're approaching age 65 and about to flip to Medicare, he's the guy that can help you navigate it. You don't have to pay him. He's just your spiritual guide. It's not spiritual. It's more technical than that, but just go with me. He walks you through it. Why do you want to learn new stuff when he can just handle it? So you go to him. Go to thefinancialguys.com. Financial Guys are our friends across the board. Janik is like first on board. He's like, yeah, I want to be on the podcast. So he's on the podcast. But the Financial Guys are on board along with Buffalo Trim as a sponsor of Brain Vault. So you'll be hearing more about them both here and on that show, which starts tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Doors open at 5:30. Tickets available at thecasbuffalo.com. Timeout. I'm not even going to try it. This is the part where it would go, all right, we'll do it. Big voice guy. It's going to be from far away. It's not going to sound right, but Scott's coming on here.
Let's check in with Writer Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
It's coming from speakers going into my microphone for whatever reason today. I don't know what's happening, but Scott should be here fine. Hi, Scott.
Hey, what's up?
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I hear you great. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, yep.
I see you live on the screen, too.
You know, I hear you, but you sound like a completely different person.
Yeah, I get that. I'm getting that a lot.
Makeover.
Charming.
And
do I seem more charming? Do I sound more charming?
No, you just sound much younger.
Oh, that's good. I'll take that.
You've always been charming.
Hell yeah.
You've always, now you sound
young and charming.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I look different. I'm today's the first day where I woke up and wasn't shocked when I looked in the mirror. Like, hey, that's not bad. You know, you can only do so much. I didn't ask for a miracle. I said, I'm 51, make me look 45. I think she did that. It's close enough. It's good enough. 45's young. 51's old.
Excellent job.
Yeah, I think we did great. So shout out to Buffalo Trim, who hooked me up in time for episode 1 of Brain Vault, which is tomorrow at the Kaz. Tickets available right now at thekazbuffalo.com. How was your weekend?
You gotta go to Buffalo Trim if you ever want to go out and get some Buffalo Trim.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's actually I think that's their slogan. No,
that's what I would go with.
No, it's not. It's not their slogan. Now that I think about it,
who are the ad wizards that came up with this?
No, what they actually came up with, and I think this is the right way to put it: give us a try, and you won't go anywhere else. Or give us a try, and you'll go everywhere else because you're going to want people to see how good you look because you went there, but you won't go anywhere else for the grooming of the head and face. Much grooming of the head and face. How? What? Football?
Thoughts?
You want to start with football?
Sure.
Why are the Patriots in the Super Bowl again? Just because it snowed, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is a fake season, right?
Since 2016, I think it is. It's been Chiefs or Patriots, with the exception of the one season that the Bengals went to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
Yeah.
That is
terrible.
God, just as a fan, it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying, I think that, why are the Patriots in the Super Bowl? It's easy. It was poor coaching, and it's down to what we talked about numerous times over the last couple of weeks, which is you have to know your team, the situation, and what game you're in. And Sean Payton was coaching like he played in a dome, and he doesn't. He doesn't play in a dome anymore. He's not the Saints coach anymore. As a head coach, it's your job to know there's weather coming in the second half. We have an excellent defense, and I have a backup quarterback. So I have an opportunity to go up 2 scores early in the game and potentially change the entire tenor of this contest.
Yep.
And they decide to go for it on 4th and 1.
And throw.
Terrible play call. And throw. They try to bootleg to the boundary, not to the field. So there's not even really
room
that much of a room to do much. And it doesn't work. And they pass on the 3 points, and that's how they lose.
They never score again.
They never score again. And again, knowing that you have a backup quarterback, knowing that, really the other reason they lost is as if the football gods reached back and instead of giving payback for what happened at the end of the first half to the Bills, gave it to the Patriots instead, because that was just a dumb as fumble situation by Stidham that turned into the only touchdown for the Patriots. I was also shocked for as good as Denver is defensively, knowing in that game, especially as conditions worsened, the most dangerous threat that the Patriots had were the legs of Drake May. And time and again in that game, he was able to find just wide open gaps where it looked like no one was thinking or accounting for his legs. That's how they scored the touchdown, and it's
how they sealed the game too. The game sealing play was the bootleg May run it, because you couldn't throw and you couldn't run, you couldn't hand off, you couldn't trust that.
They had trouble handing off.
Do you remember that play where I don't know if it was Stevenson where he fell and then May's like, all right, I'll just go, and then he just fell in the same exact spot.
Yes.
It was ridiculous. And oh man.
So, to not account for that is a big one. But still, I don't understand. You've got a backup quarterback, and you're playing a team that, because they have their quarterback, is better than you.
Yeah.
And you're at home, so you've got that advantage, and you should be thinking in your head, I know if I can have the lead going to the second half, there's potential weather coming, and with my defense, I can win the game right now. And instead they said, 4th and 1, we're going to go. Take the 3 points. That's an easy 3 points. I know that they missed other field goals. Those other misses came once the weather started to come. It was fine then when they could have kicked that field goal. It should have been an easy 10-0, and that changes everything, because then, I don't know if the Patriots are in a position really to just continuously run, and then the weather makes it changes the game, because then they almost have to run. So it would have basically won them the game early on. Go up 2 scores. I've got my backup quarterback. Look at this. I got Stidham, and I'm up, and I've got 10 points on you with my defense in my house when the second half weather is coming. And he just disregarded any of that and decided, no, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to go for the touchdown. And it was just a complete mismanagement. And again, another coach refusing to just take free points. Take points and pile them up at the end of the game.
All right, this is off of football a little bit. How are you on trusting weather forecasts? I haven't even mentioned that the kids are off from school again today, and we learned about this yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
And we were at basketball at the time, and we were driving home, and it's, what would be a 12-minute drive was an 18-minute drive or something like that. We were just being cautious, didn't take the throughway. I've got a truck, so we got four-wheel drive. It was fine. But in the moment, I was like, well, I can see why school is canceled this time. I always bitch about the early cancellations. But and then I woke up this morning, I was like, wait a minute. I fell for it. I fell into their trap where we're canceling school a day early. Then you look outside and it's fine. It's fine here. Right. They could have gone to school again. We have a basketball scrimmage that's canceled because they closed school. We have a basketball practice for one of our other teams that's canceled because that school district is closed. All of it got canceled yesterday afternoon, and then you wake up today and it's fine. But I will say this. I have trouble, and this is going back to the football part of it, going back to Sean Payton. You can tell me there's snow coming, but until I see snow, I find it hard to just 100% buy into this is what the weather people said is going to happen, and it's going to happen. I don't subscribe. I guess I'll just say that if I'm Sean Payton, I don't believe that there's going to be snow in the second half. I know there might be. I know most people are more rational than I am and listen to meteorologists. I don't. I could see just falling into it. Like, it always seems like the weather is going to be like it is right now. Unless it's super windy and I see clouds coming and I hear crackling of thunder, whatever. I can't picture weather changes until they happen. I mean, maybe that's a hole in my brain. I'm not positive, but how are you on weather forecasts and believing them? I guess this is a very long way to ask that question.
Well, I think you can look at a radar, and if there's a big glob of something, like he could look before the game.
Well, he's got people too.
Do I trust forecasts on Friday talking about our weekday action game at Central Michigan on Tuesday? Not completely.
Right.
I think they're probably going to be in the neighborhood in the temperature.
Yeah.
But outside of that, you can't really say. But day of, I feel pretty confident that they're going to get that right. Day of. I mean, we're talking about a couple 100 miles to keep an eye on, and you can see the clouds close.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that to me is different.
Right.
And that to me is what he could have. Like if you went on and had to make a decision for a baseball game for Little League, and you looked at the radar for a 6 p.m. first pitch at, let's just say, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Do you trust that when they say it's going to rain, that it's going to rain? I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that that's close enough for them to get that right.
All right. Well, you're speaking on behalf of people. I don't believe it till it's raining. And it's like, I just don't. Unless I have a meteorologist stationed at my field, like, it could rain on Diamond 2, but not on Diamond 1. And the weather people would be right. Like, it's raining. You look, it's over there, but we're still playing. Like, I don't know. I know it's science, but it feels less like science than it does like guessing to me. And I know we've gotten better at it. I understand the technology is there. I guess weather forecasts aren't ever as specific as they want them to be. Because we play at Southline in Cheektowaga. I'm not even satisfied with what is 14227. That's their zip code. I still think that's a pretty big area, and it could rain in part of Cheektowaga, but not all of Cheektowaga. It can rain in part of Amherst, but not at Will South. I don't know. I struggle. It's not specific enough for me. The weather, we gotta. For me,
you're like the RFK Jr. of weather.
I don't think that's appropriate. I think maybe a little. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. Well, you got a little bit in there.
It's
You got a
not
little
as
bit in there.
specific as I want it to be. It never is it going to rain at my house? Is it going to rain at that baseball diamond? Like we've got to get. Oh, it's going to be a terrible Saturday. All right. Well, we're on Grand Island. Do they have the same weather as us? Necessarily, no. You know, my parents live in West Seneca. My sister lives in Boston, like Hamburg. Weather, like, oh, snow's coming means a whole lot. It means a much different thing to my sister in the South towns than it does to me in the North towns. So there's only one, Channel 2 weather they're talking to all of us. And I don't think that they are giving us specific enough information, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't feel like school should be closed. I don't feel like school should be closed.
I agree with you. It's gotten to the point, school closing wise, that my children last night, as we're watching the game, were complaining. Like, I hope that they just cancel it now. Like, they should cancel it now, because they wanted to be able to just stay up late and watch YouTube and mess around, and not have to worry about going to bed on time. And then, of course, they got their way. And, not to take it too far away from football, I also think that there's an element of joy that we have removed from children's lives.
Yes,
text
100%.
Messaging and email alerts. And for a while there, we used to get automated phone calls for our district when they were canceling at 5:30 in the morning. Thanks for waking me up. Although, I mean, I listen, I need to know that information, so I appreciate it. But of waking up, knowing that there's snow, and going and sitting and watching the TV, and then just the pure joy of seeing your school's name scroll by.
Right.
And or the just pure freaking rage of my school district started with an N.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, here come the N's, and then it goes to an O school. And you're like, this is unbelievable. Yeah. This is unbelievable. I cannot believe this. And we've removed that from their lives. And I think that was, as a kid, it's like there was a certain joy of receiving mail with my name on it.
That went away.
That has gone away.
Yeah.
There's a certain joy of waking up early and finding out, oh my God, I don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Dude,
this is a free day of my life.
Remember when you liked getting an email? I mean, that even happened for a while there. It's like, ooh, I got something. Somebody wrote to me.
I mean, you've got mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing. They made a whole movie about it.
They did.
They made an entire Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks vehicle movie about getting email and how great it was to get an email.
No, it's nothing. Mail sucks. Email sucks.
Email sucks. Email has been ruined.
Texts have gotten worse.
Has been ruined.
Texts have gotten way worse. I get way too many, it's BOGO beef and cheddar at Arby's today. Like, too many of those are coming in. So it's not even fun.
Being bombarded by Long John Silver's hush puppies.
You want to hear my Long John Silver's text?
Baker's dozen.
Dude.
Per 6.
They write to me a lot.
I bet you're their only customer.
Well, let me see.
You know what I mean? Like,
there we go. All right. Yesterday at 12:06 p.m., I got invited to their Secret Society, SEA-Crit Society, exclusive 8-piece family meal, no sides, for $20. They put no sides in parentheses. 8-piece family meal, no sides, for $20 through February 1st. Prior to that, Long John Silver's.
A bunch of farm-grown crap fish.
Yeah.
No coleslaw.
No coleslaw, no tartar sauce.
Don't show up thinking you're going to get coleslaw, because you're not.
Long John Silver's. It's freezing out. Get $4 off 20 on Long John Silver's delivery via DoorDash. That's not going to work. They're in Batavia. That was Wednesday. So I heard from them yesterday, Wednesday, Monday. They offered me $6 fish and chicken basket back for a limited time. The previous Monday, they offered me $2 meals. Spent $15 plus to unlock up to 2 meals for just $2 each. They write to me a lot.
I feel like eventually you're going to get a text from them that just says, Brad, can you please come over? Please.
The hush puppies are great, though, man. They're really good. I don't know why you wouldn't eat one. Why wouldn't you eat one?
It's disgusting.
It's not, though.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
The places your mouth has been.
Reviews again.
No.
It's disgusting.
All right. This doesn't need to be about Long John. So, all right. So we talked about one football game.
The Patriots are in.
Yeah.
As far as the other game, I think the whole universe needs to eat crow on Sam Darnold. He had the game of his life, and this playoff run right now kind of feels a little bit like that Flacco year, where remember, like everyone was like, "Oh, is Flacco elite?" That whole thing with Eli, and then Flacco made that one run, and while he's had a nice career, I mean, he's still playing. He's 68 years old. He's still in the league. He had a nice career. It was never anything like that one season, and I feel like that's kind of what Darnold is putting together. And it is, especially with his history, he's been on 5 teams already. It is shocking that the first quarterback from the 2018 draft class to reach a Super Bowl is not Lamar or Josh or Baker Mayfield, but certainly not Josh Rosen. But it is Sam Darnold. So, I think seeing that is, as a Bills fan, has to be very frustrating, knowing that it really is a separate league that Josh Allen plays in than Sam Darnold does, and Sam has only kind of put it together here for this 1 year. Even the season there with Minnesota that he had, it was nothing like what he did this year. He definitely put more of the team on his back and had much more clutch performances in this one than he did against Minnesota. Minnesota felt like he was a passenger, and this one felt much more like he was able to drive the bus when necessary. So credit to him, credit to the coaching out there in Seattle for believing in him. I think certainly there's this is the worst case scenario if you're a Vikings fan. Chose to move on from him, chose to go to J.J. McCarthy. Looks like not only does he suck, but he's always injured. And then see the quarterback that you let go a season after getting they were the 1 seed, right? I think last year.
They had 14 wins.
Yeah. So
maybe the Lions.
Oh no, they lost the Lions. The
Lions are 15-2
last week to the Lions.
Yeah.
But they were a top seed, and now he's in the Super Bowl, and you're thinking, oh no, we made the wrong choice there.
Well, Minnesota's one thing. What about the Jets? What about the Jets, man? I mean, they left him for. You think the top 2 picks in the draft were Mayfield and Darnold, both of whom were fine, but walked into horrible organizations. And so it didn't go perfectly well, and they moved on, one stupider than the other. The Deshaun Watson thing being a reason to move on from Baker was dumb. He goes down. He's fine. He's good. He's been good everywhere. He was okay in Carolina. He was good with the Rams for 10 seconds. He's been good with the Bucs. Darnold moves on. He was okay also in Carolina. Good with the Vikings, kind of a passenger, like you said. Very good, certainly yesterday, and whatever. He won 14 games 2 years in a row, and you had him. You had the second pick in the draft, and you took him, and now you're where you were, except worse, and he's out there going to a Super Bowl. So I can't even imagine. My buddy is a Jets fan. He texted, man, if we got Darnold with the 3rd overall pick, can you imagine? Was he 3rd or 2nd? Whatever it was. We got Darnold. Can you imagine what we're going to get to do with a 2nd overall pick next year? Never mind. We're the Jets. That's horrible.
Right. Just the organizational dysfunction.
Yeah. Awful.
Shows off in a big way when something like this happens. So, I thought it was a great game in general.
Fun back and forth.
I will admit, I think in the long run, it was the right call at the end of the game with just under 5 minutes to go for it because of the location of the ball. They were so close to the end zone and down 4, saying this might be the chance to get there. I would not have hated taking the field goal there. That's a totally different situation from the Denver game.
No, that was realistic. I don't even, when you were saying that decision, I'm not even thinking about a decision in that game. I felt like everything was fine.
If they had kicked a field goal, I would not have batted an eye.
Sure. Yeah, it could go either way.
3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, kick it deep. But because of the position, like if they were at the 23 and it was 4th and 4, I would have said, kick this field goal. Take the 3, come out, play defense, get the ball back. Then you only got to get to around the 40-yard line instead of the touchdown.
Sure.
But because they were so close to the end zone there, I think I would have. I have no problem with that decision. And plus, they still have Stafford, not Jarrett Stidham. So
in a snowstorm.
Those are two. Yeah. Those are two different situations, two different worlds.
Yeah, it was two offenses moving the ball consistently. Like it was all right. Everything was fine in that game. It was a good game. Either team that won was going to be fine. Either team that won, I think, would be favored against New England.
Yeah.
And 3.5 is where it landed.
From the entire championship weekend, it's got to be. I mean, I know it is because I live with my son. It's another frustrating year for Bills fans, who I think have reached this point of the season and come to the end and say it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but I still think that the Bills were probably the best team in the AFC and are still not going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think they would have. I think Drake May showed up and was very nervous in that game and looked like he probably, I think we all thought he would have looked against Josh Allen in that situation. Yeah. No matter the weather, no matter the situation, he never really looked comfortable. I know that it's a different defense facing the Bills, so maybe that would have affected things, but it was the first time where Drake May looked like the moment was, that he was a newcomer to this type of stage.
Yep.
And he was a little bit shaky. And, and Denver, of course, knowing that you were probably better than them and let him off the hook. So, just coming to the end of the season and thinking the Bills' pathway could have been Drake May, Bo Nix,
Darnold,
Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Darnold
to
a Super Bowl is just really frustrating. Yeah, it is really frustrating to know that would have been, if you could have laid it out ideally before the season, I think that's about as close to ideal.
Oh, it's amazing.
Possibly could have happened.
I tried to shut the Bills out of it in my head yesterday and just watch the football that's on TV and not think about, not singing "Could Have Been" by Tiffany in my head all day long. I tried to avoid that, and I was pretty successful with it. I just kind of watched football. Obviously, I'm rooting against the Patriots because that's what we do. And then I was rooting for the Seahawks, but I didn't really care, so that one was kind of fun. But it was tough watching the AFC Championship game, looking at it going, well, the one team you beat already this year in their place, and that's where it would have been had you advanced. And that's the Patriots. And the other team
would have been a snow game, too.
And it would have been a snow game right from the start. And maybe that would have been the problem. You're like, no, I want to play on a regular field. I've got the best player. I want the best surface. I want him to be able to fully function. So, maybe the weather would have gotten the Bills, and that would have been the new part of this sad story of not getting there in the first 8 years of Josh's career. But it's tough looking at, one team that you did beat once. I know they beat you, but that was crap too. And then the way the Denver game went last week, I don't think many Bills fans walk away going, the Broncos are way better than the Bills. There's no chance. You're mad either at a play call here or there or an official's call here or there. And minimally, the Bills are an equal team to the Broncos, or showed as much last week. It just, they didn't wind up on top in the game. So to look at it, it's not like I'm watching Mahomes, who I can never beat in the playoffs, doing it again. It's just 2-0 teams that get to go to the Super Bowl. It's it makes it seem like everyone should be able to go to the Super Bowl. If Drake May in his second year with that team that's okay can win as many games as it did and then squeak through and go to the Super Bowl, why can't the Bills squeak through and go to the Super Bowl? It's like the Sabres making the playoffs. Everybody makes the playoffs. How can they not make the playoffs for 12 or 13 years in a row? How is that possible? And, how do the Bills just not get through one of these times? I don't know. I guess things are going to change. The one thing that kept the Bills in the conversation, though, is the whole time we're watching, my wife's on her phone scouting out potential head coach replacements and like, all right, who can they interview now? All right, they lost, so they can bring in this. You can bring in Davis Webb now. All right, if they lose, can we bring in Clint Kubiak now? Like all this stuff. Like the Bills head coaching search was front and center while we were watching, so I couldn't keep the Bills out of the conversation, and that stinks.
Well,
but
it does kind of stink that the Bills are looking for a coach this year and not last year, where I think last year you'd be talking about what's his name from the Lions that went to the Bears, whose name is escaping me right now, but
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, who I think is who you'd want to hire, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's, yeah. Or an experienced guy like Mike Vrabel, who ended up taking the Patriots to the Super Bowl, and Titans fired him. And I came across the fact that the Patriots have as many wins since December 21st as the Titans have since they fired Mike Vrabel. So that seems like it was a bad move for the Tennessee Titans, and it stinks for the Bills because he came in division. And as far as the coaching search goes, it's interesting. Nobody wants to coach Cleveland. They've had some interesting stories leak out about how they're going about their coaching search, and it looks like annoying nerds are getting in the way, and football guys are saying, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." So there's interesting things happening there. Clearly, the Bills still the best job available right now, but you're not swimming in a sea of wonderful choices. I thought it was interesting that the Steelers chose Mike McCarthy. I know that he's like a PA guy, so there's a little bit of like actual local ties there, and he's had success. He does have a Super Bowl win, and while it was always kind of a mess in Dallas, they did win games. They did make the playoffs. But he as far as the Steelers' tradition of hiring coaches is way out of their circle. They always hired coaches in their 30s and late 30s, and then
keep them for 40 years.
Right, and now they're hiring Mike McCarthy, who's in his 60s, and it's good. That to me is going to be very interesting. That's going to be a complete culture change there, and Mike McCarthy hasn't exactly been dragging around the best defenses. So what's going to happen there in Pittsburgh is going to be very interesting here in the offseason and this coming season. I think their offense will pick up if they can find somebody to play quarterback. But you're going to let McCarthy take over. As of right now, it looks like Rodgers is going to retire. And then, Rodgers already got McCarthy fired from one job. Is he going to be like, yeah, all right, I'll come back and play for you? That's just going to be that's outside of what they normally do, and everything they've always done for the past 70 years has worked in this department. So we'll see. We'll see there. I don't mind the fact that he's taken off the board for the Bills. I have no interest in
No.
Rivers pulled his name out. I know you're upset about that.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he has officially pulled his name out of the running for the Bills. Clint Kubiak, obviously, is still with Seattle, so now they're going to have to ask themselves, the Bills are going to have to ask themselves if they're going to wait it out. This isn't like college football. There really isn't any hurry other than making sure you get your assistants in order.
Because there's no recruiting, yeah.
Because there's no recruiting. The draft is in a while. It's not like you have to...
I don't need a coach right now.
Right. You need to find the right coach.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me that all of the guys kind of being talked about right now are all very young. Very, very young. And it's a big risk. You're taking the prime of Josh Allen, and you'd be putting it in the hands of somebody that has never done this before. And I know that you want like the young offensive mind, but you're putting a lot in the lap and a lot of pressure in the lap of somebody that's never done this job before and is very young. So we're talking about Kubiak, who's 38. He's the oldest of this group. But Davis Webb, who I'm not sure if they have interviewed yet, might have. I'm not sure. But He's the offensive coordinator for Denver.
I think they announced that they're going to, because I mean they just lost yesterday.
Right.
I think there was an announcement that he's coming in for an interview, or they're going there, or whatever.
He's a year older than Josh. He's 31 years old, and has not called plays. He's not the play caller there in Denver. That's still Sean Payton. So you're going to have a 31-year-old elevate himself to be the leader of guys. Some of them are older than him that have played with him. That to me is a big gamble. And then Udinsky from Jacksonville, who is the offensive coordinator, but again, Liam Cohen calls the plays there. He officially dropped out of the running for the Cleveland job. He apparently has a new deal worked out to stay in Jacksonville, but they are letting him still kind of stay out there for specifically, I believe, the Bills' job. So he's 30. This guy was born in 1996.
That's weird.
It makes me want to throw up. Not because of him, just because of me.
No, yeah, I get it. No,
he was a GA. He was a GA for Matt Rule down in Baylor for a year. He's been in coaching for 6 years. This guy. You're going to hand over the keys to this team that, according to the owner, had plenty of talent, and the GM, plenty of talent, had a championship roster, but couldn't get it done. So you're going to take the keys from the coach that had the highest winning percentage over the last 6 years of any head coach in the league, and you're going to give it to a 30-year-old with 6 years of coaching experience that's never called plays.
Mm.
I mean, I know he was at Minnesota with O'Connell, which I like having that experience of a guy that is a good offensive mind, good with quarterbacks. But I don't know, man. You're taking big risks, and it's going to be interesting to see which way they go. You know, at this point, if they don't make any move until after the Super Bowl, I would assume it's because of Kubiak, that they would like Kubiak. But I don't know. They're in a tight spot. Not all of the big names of last year, and the names that are getting bandied about are all young names. And you're not going to bring
Young
back
names
Anthony Lynn.
and Dable. That's ridiculous. That's Rooney Rule right there, I think, right? I mean, it didn't occur to me. I was just thinking, like, he was here for 5 minutes, and it was awful. And I heard Bulldog talking about this on the radio, and I don't remember the details of it, but I remember it kind of the way he described it, that, like, they didn't play Tyrod Taylor in the final game because, in part, there was, like, a bonus he could hit, and Doug Whaley wasn't around to explain it, and he had just been the coach for a week because they got rid of Rex, and then he had to talk about it in a press. Like, how on earth are they still thinking that he was here for a minute and it was horrible, and I would think he would run from anything Buffalo related based on the small amount of experience he had as the head coach for a week. Yet he's an interview, he's a prospect for the head coaching job. I don't think there's any chance of that. The one guy who's not young is Dable. He's been around forever, and he's got obviously the pedigree and the relationship and the local ties and all that stuff's all there. But I feel like if they wanted Dable, they'd have Dable right now, right?
That's a nostalgia play, honestly, at this stage, because you've got 4 years of track records of what he is as a head coach. I'm sorry, it sucked.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, that's a strictly nostalgia play, and I would assume that that's driven largely by the fact that he has an excellent relationship with the general manager and still has an excellent relationship with Josh, which I don't know. We don't know what that relationship is.
Right.
Obviously, they were close or, seemed to get along when they were here, and I think it's fair to say that he certainly got Josh to wake up to playing more responsible and taking his game to another level. But that's different, and that position he was in is different than being the head coach.
Yep.
So, it's going to be, maybe there's somebody here in left field that we're not seeing yet. But as of right now, those seem to be the names, and they're all super young guys that are not all that experienced in doing this. And just feels like you're setting them up to fail. Feels like you're setting them up to do something and have pressure on them that isn't necessarily fair for them. Whoever it is that's going to get this job, if you take one of those young guys.
Do you want to talk about Skyscraper live?
Yeah. Can I throw one other note in football-wise?
Yes.
It's a very quick thing.
It's fine.
They put out this is just checking in with the transfer portal in college football.
Oh, okay.
UConn has announced that they are bringing in 64 new players for next year. It's almost a complete retooling of their roster.
It's a big number.
So just to put that into perspective, that's an entire NFL roster plus practice squad.
Added.
They're rolling They're rolling the entire thing. It's all new players for UConn.
You know who I feel for? Phil Steele. Dude's got to put out a magazine, and he's got to talk about what he thinks UConn's going to do, and they have 64 new players? That's hard.
Yeah, it's got to be hard for UConn. It's got to think about their play-by-play guy. He's got a whole new team.
Oh, my God.
It's a whole new team. New coaching staff out there, new team. So that's, another insight into how insane it is out there.
Yeah.
What it's like. First of all, they needed to do it. It's not like that was a choice. They didn't just kick kids off the team. They left in the portal too.
Right.
Or graduated. They had a lot of seniors. So they had to bring in those numbers, but that's just, that's the way it is now out there.
Do you want to talk about Skyscraper Live?
I am open to talking about Skyscraper.
All right.
Yes.
So I, leading into it, so when I turn on Netflix and it knows what I like, it was promoting a thing called Skyscraper that, without reading it, I just saw, there's a few word description, and then if you click on it, then it'll give you more information. I didn't click on it. I just thought it was some game show. I thought it was some new game show that was going to air, and I was like, I'll catch up later. And then you told me, hey, heads up, the guy from the Free Solo movie is climbing a skyscraper, and it's going to be live on Netflix, and either he's going to get to the top of the skyscraper or he's going to die live on Netflix. And that's enough for me to tune in. Like, I don't know that
Yes.
I wasn't sure what I was rooting for when I turned it on. I very quickly was on his side and wanted him to live, and he lived. And I made it through most of it, and then I forgot that I shut it off. Like, I thought I had seen it, but then I woke up, I was like, wait, I never saw him actually reach the summit. So I watched the last 16 minutes. I gotta say, man, the least comfortable I was the entire time was when he was on the top and it was over, and he was just standing there, and I was so worried that the adrenaline that helped propel him up there would come out of his body. He'd go into convulsions. He'd just fall off the building. After reaching it, yeah, I did it. And he's taking selfies, and then whoops, and then he goes. I could not. I mean, I did watch it, but I kept looking away from the part where he was standing on the top of the building.
Yeah, the whole thing was, I think, good. I think they had good camera angles on it.
The cameras were sick.
Yeah. I think there was a real danger to me that I started thinking once he got about a quarter of the way up, in the fact that with all the windows there, somebody just jumping out and making a noise and scaring him
Right.
became a real threat. And there were a couple of times where there's those silver overhang things. There were a couple of times, especially on the lower levels, where you could see him reach in and then birds scurry out.
Oh, I didn't see birds.
Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, okay,
Right.
that could be something. You know what I mean? You go in there and you stumble upon a bird protecting its nest.
Right.
And instinctually you put your hands up, which means you take your hands off the wall, which then means
Right.
I get to hear Al Duncan describe you falling 70 floors. I will say the design of the building did provide them, Netflix, a little bit of insulation into if he did fall. The top two layers with the what did they call them? The bamboo shoots or something. Where
Bamboo wall, bamboo ladder, bamboo. Yeah.
Where the way they were shaped when he was climbing up those upper things, if he had fallen, he would have only been 6 or 7 stories to the ledge below, not all the way down.
Right.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. If he falls 6 stories and, falls on a light or something that's there, he's going to be very injured.
Concrete, flat onto concrete. Yeah, it was still. But yes, you're right. There were various
there was a little bit
ledges that were because it was tapered to the top. Yeah.
Right, because of the tapering and stuff like that, there was a little bit of wiggle room for Netflix to probably say, okay, we are more than likely not broadcasting a death, just a paralyzed man, to make them go forward. I thought the whole thing was fun. It was good.
It was fun. Mark Rober was really good. Are you familiar with him from like YouTube stuff? Mark Rober, the guy that was okay. Yeah, yep. He's awesome. Anything he ever does is interesting and cool and fun. It's like infotainment, I think, or edutainment. Somebody wrote in the chat about him. I think he's awesome. He was a nice addition. The wrestler, I don't think, provided much. And honestly, I think you and I and Paul are good at UB football broadcasts, even if we have a lightning strike nearby and we've got to stall for 45 minutes with nothing going on. Like, we'll get through it just fine. I would not want to broadcast a guy climbing up a skyscraper. You really quickly run out of things to say. And I thought, the announcing part of it when they weren't using Mark Rober was atrocious, but the cameras made up for it. And, just the sheer spectacle of what you were watching made up for it.
Yeah.
But that's not a job I would want to have. I'm not blaming the broadcasters. I'm just saying you sign up to do it, and then it's like, all right, there he goes. Oh, here comes a dragon. There was nothing there for the broadcasters to do, but it was more a visual thing than anything else.
It's all visual. I actually did like when they had one of the climbers chime in.
Yeah.
And actually talk about...
Yeah, that was helpful.
That was helpful.
The thing about the pressure, putting the flat pressure on the window, squeezing or whatever they called that, and how you can use that to push yourself upward. Yeah, there was some stuff in there. And again, I thought the Rober stuff was pretty good too. But just to be like the play-by-play guy and he goes up, and up higher, and more up. Oh, he's up, he's going. Could be windy. Watch out for earthquakes. Like, they ran out of stuff to say real quickly.
Yeah, it was more of a spectacle than anything.
Well, yeah, it was, for sure.
Visually, it was funny. They were about halfway through. They were about 50 minutes in, or 40 to 50 minutes in. They were running a package piece, which I actually think they did a nice job realizing that during this, we're going to have to break this up a little bit.
Right. And put the climb on in a box and then put some kind of little feature story. Yeah, that was good.
Especially for people that didn't watch Free Solo. I appreciated also that there wasn't much of a build-up at the start. There was maybe 7-8 minutes, and then it was like, all right, get him on the building.
Yeah, and there was no post-game really either. I thought that they'd have him come down and then they'd interview him or something. No, just him and his wife up at the top, and then the end.
So I appreciated that, and I think that was the right move, because all of those stories that you would tell in a half-hour pregame, you are going to need to tell during
the event, because there's nothing to say.
They did, because there's nothing to say. So, for people that didn't watch Free Solo, and that he's got a kid, that he's got kids now, that he has a wife, that for 10 years he was just so into climbing, he lived out of a van, so that he could just drive to where he wanted to climb and sleep and then wake up and climb. Little things like that, and letting a little bit of his story be known. I think they did a nice job with that. I liked it because it's one of the few times recently that there has been an event that I got my entire family into the living room. They were all excited to watch it, and nobody left to watch YouTube or did anything else. Everybody was invested in it and talking about it. And it was fun. It was some throwback old school television where everybody, you kind of had to watch it. You had to be involved, and everybody did. It was a good idea. I don't know what he could do next. Can he do the sphere? I don't know.
Right.
Could he do the Washington Monument? Is that too smooth? I don't know. But I'm open to things. The three things that I could think of were the Sphere, the Washington Monument, and then could he go from base
Statue of
to
Liberty.
like the concrete base to the top of I like Statue of Liberty a lot. From the base to the top of Golden Gate Bridge.
Ooh.
Wind, fog, you could get some of that involved.
You'd have suicides in the background.
Right.
Did you ever watch that documentary?
Right.
That was dark.
It was very
What's it called?
dark.
The Fog?
I think they put a net up, right? Now there's a net there.
Yeah, to try to catch people that are jumping off of it all the time.
Yeah.
That documentary was terrible.
I have not watched the other documentary that I sent to you yet, but I'm excited about the 4 kids that decided to live in a small apartment space of blank space at a mall.
Yes.
And they just lived there for 4 years.
Yeah, that seems awesome.
Knowing.
Yeah, I haven't watched
and
it
they
yet
documented the whole thing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that yet, but
that's pretty great. Free Solo, by the way, popped up on Netflix, which is wise, obviously. You're going to have this guy on. You might as well put the documentary up now that there's extra interest in him. But that I've never seen it, and it's available now. I had to choose last night between that, the Springsteen movie that you told me you saw. A bunch of people have told me they've seen it, but you told me I should watch it. I will. But I watched The Rip last night, which is the Damon Affleck thing. That's a new movie on Netflix.
Yes.
And have you seen that yet?
Not yet, no.
Definitely watch it. It's
good.
It was really fun. It felt throwbacky. Like, I feel like medium-sized movies have gone away. It's either small, tiny indie,
right?
Or it's massive blockbuster. And this is just in between, fun, action, suspense, cops, dirty cops, whodunit, kind of who's the rat. It's just cool. It was just really, it was good. It gets a little, at the end, it gets a little crazy with sort of the reveal of all the stuff. It got a little nuts, but it was like, it's a movie. Like, suspend this. It feels very real. And there are moments where like, come on, but it was a movie. It was an 80s, early 90s kind of action, good actors, real people. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And I will watch it again, and I will tell everybody to see it. It's good. It's just good. It's one of those, I've told this story 1,000 times, but my parents went to see Die Hard in the theater in 1989, and my dad came home and handed me $20. And he's like, you're going to see this movie tomorrow. And this is that's what I'm going to tell him. I'm like, you have to watch this movie tonight. This is for you. So just good. Like, it's not going to win anything. I wrote down, if there was an Oscar for cool as shit, I think this movie could win the Oscar for that. It's not going to win Best Picture. It's not going to win Best Screenplay. It's not going to win Best Actor for anybody. But it was just cool. It was a good vibe. It came in a little under 2 hours, and it was just a perfect, like, hang out and I'm watching a movie today. It's not a film. It's a movie, and it was good. And I also like the story that it's Damon and Affleck started a production company just so they can work together. Like, not enough people are putting them both in movies together. Well, you only get to play, in a Kevin Smith bit part type of thing every 5 or 6 years where they get to be together, but they wanted to work together. So they did this, and they're the 2 lead actors, and it's awesome. It's really good. So I recommend it. That's all.
Well, and I saw the Springsteen movie.
Yeah.
For the first time. I came away kind of surprised that the 2 massive Springsteen fans that we both know were both like,
yeah.
Right. Because I feel like that should be right up there. Maybe they already know all the stories behind.
It's probably part of it.
These songs and stuff like that. So it's telling a story already. And I will say it's not exactly a thriller. There are moments that are a little bit slower and stuff like that, but I liked it. Not earth-shattering by any means, and I did know some of the story behind it, but not all of them, not all of it. And still found it very entertaining and very well acted. Jeremy Allen White does a really good job. I appreciate that they didn't go overboard and he didn't overact with like the underbite and stuff like that, but he still has the general feel and look of Springsteen, and still, you know what I mean? Like he didn't overdo it with like
Right.
Springsteen, all that.
Right.
It's a normal voice,
And
but
no
you
like
still believe it.
prosthetics or anything like that. It's just like he looks enough like him. It's fine. Yeah.
Right. I give Springsteen credit telling a story that involves a love interest that is not his wife, Patty.
Yeah.
Going back in time. And to be perfectly honest, it doesn't make him look real good in the story. So, at least being honest about that. And, some of the behind the scenes stuff of how that album was made, and it bleeds into the Born in the USA album.
Yeah.
Which I never realized. I knew a lot of the basics of the Nebraska situation, but not actually seeing it like that helps me appreciate it a little bit more. I didn't know that a lot of the Born in the USA album was actually from the session where he was at the house, trying to figure that out, and the process of them trying, like, all the Nebraska songs were meant to just be put on tape so that they could then go and become full band songs, and then you see how they don't, and that whole struggle, and how odd it was for somebody that looked like they were about to emerge as, they were already a big star, but poised with this next album to be the biggest star on the planet next to Michael Jackson. To put that album out and make the choices he made, it's pretty ballsy. Whether you like the album or not, it was ballsy, and you get to see them work through that. And I don't know, I found it interesting.
Well, I mean, everything you're saying makes me want to see it more. It's but the thing that made me want to see it less is, like you said, Fuller and Peck are massive Springsteen fans, and they're both like, yeah, it was good. I don't know if you weren't a big Springsteen fan, I don't know if you'd care. I'm like, no, I care. I would care if this was fictional and it was just about a guy making an album. And now you add in the fact that it's Springsteen, like, yeah, I'm into that. So I will watch it. I wanted to watch The Rip last night instead.
And I think that they do a good. They certainly make it clear that there's a lot of baggage going on there with his dad and his home life growing up. They certainly don't paint his dad in a good light, but I have heard him do interviews, especially on Stern, where Dad was clearly, there were more problems even than they showed in this movie. Like, they could have really made him look bad from some of the stuff that stories that he told. I mean, you clearly get a view that Dad was a drunk, was not fun to be around, and all Bruce wanted was to be loved by Dad. And there's that, like, constant, struggle with him, and that's a common through the movie. Knowing how important his mother is, and, like, most of the sweet songs that he's ever written actually were inspired in part by the experience that he had with his mother standing up for him and saving him from a lot of those problems.
Mm-hmm.
They could have made her look a little bit more, but you clearly see that the most important relationship that he had that was influential with his music and what he did was the father relationship, and how it was not easy. It was not a pretty thing for him, and how he had to deal with that. So I found the whole thing interesting, and again, well acted. I like Jeremy Allen White. You and I also always talk about how Paul Dano's one of those guys that if he's in the movie, I assume that it's probably going to be
interesting at least. Yep.
Interesting at least. Another one of those guys is what's his name from Succession that played the main son.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Jeremy.
Right now.
He's also Jeremy.
He's the other Jeremy. He was also in the commercials, the Super Bowl commercials last year for Dunkin' Donuts with what's his name?
Yes.
Jeremy
Strong.
Strong. Jeremy Strong. He most everything he's done in the last 5 years has been pretty interesting. So he's in it. I think he does a good job.
He was in Molly's Game, and he was awesome in that. Have you seen Molly's Game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Molly's Game.
It's
awesome.
It's clear that Jeremy Strong is insane. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
He's different and he's odd, but he really gets into this. I haven't seen the Trump movie that came out a couple years ago, but I have seen clips of him as Roy Cohn, and it was incredible. Like, he was incredible in that. So, you know, I liked everything about it. Is it a movie that is going to go on Mount Rushmore? No. I'm not sure. I'd like to know what Bruce fans wanted. If they were going to get a movie, what would they have wanted?
Well, it's supposed to be good and small, like Nebraska, right? I mean, isn't that the whole thing? Like, the album is
it is not,
good and small.
It's not a rock and roll movie.
Yeah.
At all. It is an emotional, small,
I'm in for that.
introspective thing.
I'm in for that. But yeah, you don't have to run to a theater to see it. You can watch it on TV, and it's fine. So I'm fine with that. I look forward to it. All right. Did I write anything else down here? Oh, did I tell you that the other day that we did episode 250, which is getting rave reviews, by the way. Everyone is writing to me, telling me how much they loved episode 250. You were a big part of that.
It's the best.
A lot of people are saying it. I never hit go live. So we did that whole show and no one could see it or hear it.
Cool.
But it recorded, so then I was able to post it afterward. But as far as live, I don't understand, and that's a question for the chat. You guys, if I'm ever not on, but I'm in the chat and I'm talking to you, it's let me know. 'Cause I'm not watching or listening. I'm just doing. And I found out after, like, I shut it down. So I did the show by myself for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. Then I had Tim Graham on for like half an hour. Then we played one song. I had you on for an hour. And then I played a song, and I hit play on the recorded interview with Nick Mackay from the day before, and that was almost an hour long. So the show went, I thought, until like 1 o'clock. I wasn't here sitting at the computer because I had to go get my hair cut. I got the whole thing done. That was at 1. I was on my way there, and I got a text from my dad. He's like, I'm just making sure everything's okay. And I was like, why? He's like, no show today? And I went, oh, no. And I was on my way there. So I had to sit, and the hair, turning me into this took like an hour and a half. There's a lot of work that needed to be done. So I was sitting there the whole time thinking, okay, when I get home, I can hit stop on the broadcast and then see if it's saved, because it should have. It usually does. But if I'm not actually streaming, I'm not positive it's going to save. So the whole time I'm there, I'm thinking, did I just waste one of the best shows I've ever done? Because it was excellent. I mean, top to bottom, just super good. But it didn't air live. So then I set it up, and it aired live. You can do a live premiere of something that's pre-recorded through YouTube. So we did episode 250 aired live Saturday at 10 a.m. And no one complains. People have watched it on YouTube, and everything's fine. But it didn't air live, and nobody told me. Nick in Depew says, I would have let you know, but you hadn't commented in the chat by 10:30 or so when I wandered away. I did write in the chat something about technical problems because it started late. It was similar to today. I couldn't get the other stuff to play. I could get this. I could get on the air, but I couldn't play my music or my the intros, any of that. And that problem remains, but at least we went live today, and everything's okay. I don't know why I just told you all that.
Good.
I don't know why I just told you all that.
Millions of people can now enjoy it in all its glory.
Yeah.
I'm just, the only other thing I have written down here is kind of movie adjacent, I guess, since we were ending on movies. A broadcasting Hall of Famer died by the name of Jeff Mason. He's a behind-the-scenes guy, but he was with ABC and ESPN. Did a lot of big sporting events.
Okay.
As a producer, behind-the-scenes guy. He died this week, and it reminded me that he is basically the main character of a good movie. If you like, um, it's not a documentary. It's clearly it's a drama, but it's like a biopic, and it's called September 5, and it is about the breaking news of the Munich Olympics.
Oh,
And it's about an hour and a half, and it's about the fact that Jeff Mason, who was an associate on-site producer in Munich, overnight is in charge of basically getting everything set for the next day's broadcast of the Olympics, and has a skeleton crew there. All of a sudden comes across the news that there are terrorists in the Olympic Village across the street. And it is his drive and his organization there on the site that really drives the fact that ABC had to make the decision, and Roone Arledge at the time had to make the decision of who is covering this and how they are covering this, because at that time of the world, that is a news story. And it was Mason and everybody behind the scenes saying, yes, but this is a sports story and all the sports people are here. So why don't we cover it right now, live, as it's happening, with sports people that know what's going on and all the people here. And he set it up, all those, like, the whole movie is about how behind the scenes, how they are able to navigate that and be one of the only places that broadcasts this to the world live as it's happening. And just seeing Mason's name reminded me of that. Definitely recommend the movie if you're like a nerd and like kind of behind the scenes stuff of.
well, yeah,
You know,
that's me. I don't.
That's a tragic situation.
I don't know how I've never
but
heard of this.
It was like an under Skarsgård is Roone Arledge in this, and he is very good as well. But it's all about that, whatever it was, day and a half or so of what happened and reporting on it, the problems they had, how they had to get, not revolutionary, but again, this is a sports story. We're covering it from a sports angle with the people that know what's going on here instead of just turning it over to news. And Mason was part of that, and he's the main character in this movie. That's a very good movie. And looking at it, I didn't know a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and getting Jim McKay involved and stuff like that. It's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
And he definitely was has now passed on, but was a big part of one of the biggest live breaking news events that set the standard for how these types of events are covered, because they had never been covered or broadcast like this before.
Right.
They had to make it up on the fly, and it was just this overnight guy that basically ended up getting the lead on all of it.
Yeah, I'm reading about it here. Jeffrey Mason was barely 30, a control room functionary working a down day at the 72 Olympics when history called on a push-button phone. An unknown number of Israeli athletes had been taken hostage at the Olympic Village, and it was largely up to Mason to decide what to show the world about it. Just the lives of innocents and the future of media hanging in the balance. No biggie. More than half a century later, Mason is portrayed in September 5, out November 29th. This is 2 years ago. Paramount Pictures' Neo Verite entry into a wide-open Oscar race documents the day when global terrorism, a host country's angst, and media ethics crashed into one another. Workaday actor John Magaro plays him in a career-making turn, a callow producer rising to the spotlighted moment, albeit with no shortage of moral torment and ulcerative stress. And I also think maybe this guy is to blame for me having to do a show live on the air with Reuben Brown on September 11th, 2001. Without this guy, I don't think they let me do that or make me do that.
Probably not. But it's fascinating because something like this had never happened where there was just like cameras nearby as it was ongoing. So you see them have to make the decision of, what do we do if we're broadcasting live and the terrorists bring an athlete out and kill him on the porch? Like, is that morally right? Like, you see the angst and how they have to deal with deciding for the first time in human history how they cover something like this. His decisions, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but It was him that was basically like, take that studio camera, run a cable, and put it outside and point it at the village. And we're going to see what we can get. And being able to, at the time, a lot of this was done by film. So you didn't have like the satellite remote shots like you would now. So they would have to sneak guys in with regular cameras, film it, sneak back out, and then develop it, and then take it and cut it and edit it to get it on. Like it's just a cool movie. I mean, it's a tragic movie, but it's a cool look into how a lot of this was formed and based off on the fly during that event.
It's on Amazon Prime, which I did not know. I've never heard of it. Start your free trial. Yeah, it's available in multiple places, but it seems like if you have a Prime subscription, you can just watch that movie. So I will do that. I definitely want to do that. Wow, a lot of stuff covered. So now you need a subscription to Netflix to watch the skyscraper thing. Even if you didn't see it, I knew he lived and watched it from the start, and it was excellent. The Rip is on Netflix also, so you need a Netflix subscription to listen to the show now. And now you need Prime.
Springsteen's on Hulu.
Springsteen's on Hulu. You need Hulu for Springsteen. You need Prime for September 5, and you need Netflix for the other two things.
And I have taped The Smashing Machine is on HBO. I have taped that. I have not seen it yet.
Remind me what that is.
That is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the guy that was like one of the first big UFC fighters.
Oh, yes. UFC.
And that...
where's that?
That is on HBO.
HBO. All right. So you need a subscription to everything to follow along with Writer Radio. Good luck. All right. We're done. Thanks, man.
See ya.
There's Scott Wilson. I'm Brad Ryder. That's the end of episode 251, which actually aired live today. Minus the music that we typically have. That didn't totally work, but that's all right. I'm going to play the go to lunch thing from a speaker into this microphone. Hold it. See, I'll just do this. We'll play that, and then we're done.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?